From a CRM standpoint, how does the differentiation between marketing qualified leads and sales qualified leads impact any long-term customer relationship management?
Okay, so here it is in a nutshell, Tracy. It's a great question about most organizations, even large organizations, are very good at dealing with leads that are coming in and ready to buy. They're ready to buy right now, right? They're not as good or efficient or effective at dealing with leads that need a lot more education, right? They're the people who are not ready to say yes today. They might be ready to say yes 6 months or a year or 18 months down the line. There is so much money to be made when you follow up. So this MQL bucket, this marketing qualified leads, a lot of times people become a marketing qualified lead, then a sales qualified lead, and then they don't convert to a sale. The team just leaves them alone. Okay. What we need to do is put them back as a marketing qualified lead and stay in touch with them over time, because there's a very good chance for many, many clients, and I'd say most, that person is going to make another buying decision and bring them back to the organization, back to our client, right? We've seen this time and again, right? So there's a gold mine in these leads that don't convert. It's like 66% or more, some research says, of leads that don't convert initially and can convert over time. So when we think about long term, the ability to generate and scale an organization just becomes exponentially stronger when you take the leads that you've already paid money for and you learn to follow up with them in a very personalized way that is not cheesy and not super salesy, but over time. And if you don't get them the first time, you get them the second time they're making a buying decision, or a third time. The other thing is that many customers or clients make many buying decisions over the lifetime of the customer or the client, right? So a lot of times they're actually coming back. We're nurturing customers and clients. We're getting them to buy additional services, additional products from the same source over time. So just because they purchased the first time doesn't mean that we can't increase the customer lifetime value over time. So we really care about the long-term gain, right? And when we sync this up with PPC, we see profit over the course of 10 years. And how does that impact a company's bottom line? And it's significant. And when Aaron and I talk with a client, we're showing them usually a forecast of what could 10 years look like, right? If you're spending less or you're spending more, and we're nurturing these leads and improving the sales conversion rate over time. Little minor tweaks have huge impact on the bottom line over the course of 10 years. So we got to think about it from a more holistic perspective. Have the sales team do a great job with the ones that are ready to rock. Have the marketing team do a great job with all the people who are not ready to buy right away.
Yeah, and excellent points, Alex. And so this 66% gold mine that you described, let's say that, it's the portion that haven't purchased yet versus the repeats that you're trying to grow. How long are you conceivably following up? Is there an end?
Oh, yeah. Well, there can be an end, sure. And it depends on a number of factors, right? But a lot of clients, so it depends on what you're selling. So let me give an example of multifamily apartment communities, right? If someone doesn't rent in your apartment community, pretty good chance they'll go live somewhere else for a year and may or may not be happy and come right back to you the next year, right? So this is an 18-month process, even if they don't purchase the first time. So we find in multifamily, people usually make a decision within 60 days. But if they don't make a decision within 60 days, good chance, right, that they will be making a decision 18 months later or a year later, something like that. Other products, other services are longer, like we've seen in the trades, like plumbing. Let's say a plumber gets called about doing a new water heater, right? Water heaters used to last 25 years. Now they don't. Maybe they last 10 years or 7 years. I don't know exactly what the stat is, but it's less than they used to. Let's say the plumber doesn't get the deal right away. Well, if they follow up with that person 5 years later or 7 years later, pretty good chance they may have an opportunity to get the business. So, think about realtors. They do one deal, but then they follow up later. If they don't get the deal. So all I'm trying to say is it depends on what you're selling. We want to look at what is the outlier? How long could it take to make this decision? So we've worked with clients where they've set that bar at 10 years. Other clients have set it at 18 months and some set it more at 6 months, depending on what they're selling, right? So there's no one size, one shot fits all or something kind of thing, but it's really important for marketing and sales to determine how long should we go after folks and then have a plan.
Nailed it.
Yeah, well, Aaron, and how long do you go after folks from a remarketing perspective?
Yeah, I mean it's custom as well. It's custom as well. It's just really common sense, and then you see what the data tells you.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to test your way. If you follow up, if we find in the database that look anybody after 12 months doesn't buy, then we don't need to put money and effort into that over a certain amount of time. The other thing is different channels. We adjust this. How long do we follow up? It changes based on how we're following up, right? So remarketing versus email versus what kind of stuff we're doing on social or actual networking with people. So there's a variety of factors there that are important.
Yeah, and a great way to keep the cost down on the PPC side when you're following up and keeping that brand top friend of mine, top of mind, is to put display ads in front of them, and then they'll see it for months and months, maybe even years, and they will not click because they're not ready. They're not at that moment, but they'll see it, and if they're not clicking, the advertiser's not paying. So it's free branding and free keeping that brand in front of them. And then suddenly they do have an issue, they need to solve it, then they'll click. And then that's which is what we want.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, ultimately what we need to do is strategically decide these things together. It's based on data and experience. And those things work together to make your strategy.